The Young Bucks have returned to AEW, and in doing so, cost Swerve Strickland the AEW World Championship. I am Luke Owen, DAD. And I think probably for the first time in WrestleTalk podcast history, someone might be able to correct me on this in the chat, I'm on my own for the moment. Sat did text me to say that he's on his way, but he was running late, and well, he's still on his way as far as I can tell. So I'm on my own for the time being. I'm hoping that Sat will join us at some point. But welcome to WrestleTalk. Please do press subscribe. Give us a little thumbs up as well. Leave a comment down below with what you thought of AEW Dynasty 2025. Our live chat is already getting in a lot of thoughts about this show. Not all of which appear to be positive. There's like a handful of people who are on board with this show. But looking at the live chat currently, yeah, not a lot of people vibing with AEW Dynasty, which I thought was quite a fun little show. I really enjoyed myself here. I think it dipped in the sort of the mid portion of the show. There's like a sort of a 3-match. Basically, it's from Carl Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, which was a hell of a little match. And then it was the Jericho Bandido match and the Adam Cole Daniel Garcia match, where I did feel, yeesh, I'm kind of ready for the main events now. I am ready for Kenny Omega to come out and have an awesome triple threat match, and I'm very much ready for the main event. And that 3-match stretch can feel like a long time, particularly when there's like Jericho ROH shenanigans in the middle of it. But overall, I very much enjoyed the show, and I very much enjoyed this main event as well. By the way, if you want to get your thoughts read out on the air, WrestleTalk.com/support is the link to click. It's in the video description down below, and I will read out all of your messages before the end of the broadcast. Please do keep me company. I'm currently on my own. And thank you to everyone who is in our wonderful live chat at the moment, who is doing a wonderful job in making it feel like I'm not on my own. You guys are beautiful. Thank you to our wonderful moderating crew as well. So this main event, Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. I've now got a message through. It's still not sat. He's still not arrived. Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. My first kind of thought on this was, shout out to the person who was like sort of 4 rows back or so, maybe 5 rows back, who took a photo of this match on a disposable camera. These are my sorts of people. Shout out if this is you in the comments down below. What I thought, though, is that this felt like this had more of a main event feel than the Copeland matches that we had at Revolution and on Dynamite. While I did enjoy the street fight they had with the spike bat spots, I thought this felt more like a main event, and the crowd treated it as such as well, because I don't think the crowd were particularly there for the Revolution main event, but they wanted to see Swerve Strickland win the AEW World Championship here 1 year from when he last won the AEW World Championship at Dynasty. And Mox busted Swerve Strickland open fairly early doors, not through like any massive shenanigans. It was just through violence. It was just he was brutally beating him down. They got a bit of color, but it wasn't like a huge amount of color on it. Again, Swerve kicks out of some moves, but there's not a lot of heat, not a lot of motion behind the kick out, because he is just being beaten down by the world champion. And then we get some of what we saw in the build for this show, which is that Swerve is telling Moxley that I am the most dangerous man in all elite wrestling, and it's going to take a lot more than just you being you to put me down. And, he's yelling at Moxley, you need to hit me harder if you are going to put me down. And actually, Swerve starts throwing some hits back on Moxley, and Moxley's like, you're going to have to hit me harder. So, Swerve does, and he rocks him a little bit. We got a house call, and Swerve set up for a second, but Mox lariats him, and then Marina. Then we got the Death Rider shenanigans that we kind of come to expect from this point in time. So Marina Shafir gets in the ring. Prince Nana then gets in and stops her from using the briefcase, turns his back. She cracks him with the briefcase. And then Mox goes to hit the cutter, but Swerve sidesteps being hit by that cutter. So Mox hits Marina Shafir with the cutter, then hits a paradigm shift on Swerve Strickland for a near fall. Mox then gets a ladder. Both men end up on top of it. Kind of that sort of wacky thing of trying to get a guy who's unconscious to climb a ladder, but I thought they did quite a good job with it. And then Swerve raked the back of Jon Moxley and hit a Swerve stomp from the top of the ladder through Jon Moxley, through the announce table. Brilliant spot. Really, really great. God, the crowd were well into this. They were into the match from the get-go because, as I said, they wanted to see Swerve win, but they were so into this. particularly at this point here. And they have a battle of forearms in the ring. Shafir passes a chair back into the ring, and Mox throws it, but Swerve again sidesteps, and it absolutely clatters the referee. So we got a ref bump and then a vertebrae by Swerve. And here comes Hangman Adam Page. And I was kind of so into the action. And I thought about this earlier in the night as well. I was like, man, the show really is missing my Hangman Page. And I was like, oh yeah, he'll be in the main event. Or likely he'll be in the main event. And then during the main event, I forgot about Hangman Page again because I was enjoying the Mox and Swerve action so much. And Hangman comes down and he doesn't actually get involved in the match. He said, I'm a man of my word. Swerve Strickland will not be AEW World Champion while I am breathing. But he doesn't attack Swerve Strickland, nor does he attack Jon Moxley. Kind of both of them are sort of staggering to their feet. And hello, it is that's it. We're already live, bud.
You already started?
We started.
Oh my flipping. What did you do the whole time?
I've just been chatting, bud.
You've been chatting?
Yeah, I've been chatting. I've been recapping what happened in the main event.
Hi, guys.
That's here, everyone. We're live, pal.
Why are we... What do you mean we're live?
We're live, pal.
Hi, guys. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. We had to get started. I was worried about the moderators having to sit around and wait for us to get the show on the road.
Mod Mother, I'm so sorry. I was on the train and they decided to wait for a few minutes. And this is why you have to get here like 10, 20, 30 minutes or an hour earlier than usual. But it's a 4-hour show. What'd you expect?
Was a long show. I was saying earlier, I did enjoy this show overall, but there was like a 3-match period where I was like, I am ready to get into these main events now with Kenny Omega and with Swerve and Mox. And actually, by taking that out, you probably would have reduced about an hour of this show.
There was a lot of collision matches. That's why I made notes. I was like, certain matches should have been left on collision and should have been on the pay-per-view. At one point, Kyle Fletcher and the Mark Briscoe match, I was like, oh. And then they cooked. They cooked.
Good match.
They cooked. And eventually I was like, oh, this is what happens when what starts off like a TV match and you give it time, turns into an incredible pay-per-view match. So I was like, you know what? You earn your spot on the show. But not every match I feel that way.
No. Well, we'll come on to those in a little bit. We are talking about the main event here. And I actually just go down to when the real meat of this match, when Hangman Page comes down to the ring. Doesn't really attack either guy. In fact, doesn't touch either of them.
No.
But it was almost enough of a threat that the Death Riders felt, oh, we need to get involved here. So Pac and Claudio and Wheeler Yuta come down and they take out Hangman Page. And they clear the ring of him. He clears the ring of them, rather, and hits the Deadeye on Mox. Then the Ops run down, and they start brawling with Death Riders. That sets up a trios match between those two. It feels like absolute pandemonium at this point. It's like a PlayStation 1 platformer at one point. We get a chair shot to Moxley and the Swerve Stomp, but there's no ref. And then the lights go out. And baby, when the lights go out, they come back up. And the Young Bucks are in the ring, have already got Swerve Strickland in position for the BTE trigger.
Yeah.
They clatter him with the knees. Moxley retains. So on the prediction show, you and I predicted that Mox was going to retain this title.
We did. We actually trauma bonded over the fact that this may happen. We actually laid out what could happen, but the only thing that was missing was the Young Bucks factor of what it potentially going to be.
Never thought that the Bucks were going to be involved with this, and I guess maybe I am a simple fan at times. The fact that I got surprised means I don't feel like I'm as angry at this finish as some people appear to be. Like looking at the live chat stuff, people are not vibing with this finish. Checking the comments on my edited review as well, people did not like this finish, and I think it's because Moxley retained. But I think twofold. I'd already mentally prepared myself that Moxley was retaining anyway, because I was like, well, we've got double or nothing before we get to All In. But B, I was surprised at the Young Bucks. So I did literally have my head on my hands, being like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. And it's made me go like, oh, I want to see Dynamite, because I want to see like what the next phase of this story is. I'm going to guess we're going to get the Bucks versus Swerve and Hangman. And like that seems pretty cool to me. So like there's some things in there that I'm like, that's at least intriguing. I don't love it, but it is intriguing at the very least.
Your response is very refreshing.
Well, thank you.
No, because I was going to come in here with the same mentality, because I feel like everyone has just trauma dumped their thoughts on this, and I don't want to add to it for the simple fact is it's happened already. No matter amount of trauma dumping is going to change things. Hang Swerve, potentially all in, going to face the Bucks. But I feel like for me, the only issue I have with this is like it kind of told us how the Owens going. We went from being like, ooh, this mysterious tournament. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Might be Ospreay now, right?
Yeah, if it's going to be Swerve Man at versus the
According to
Bucks.
Hang Swerve.
Hang Swerve. Sure, Swerve Man works better.
I know that is like a great idea. It sounds like a superhero. Swerve Man. His name is Vince Russo, bro. No, people got Hang Swerve.
But I feel that doesn't roll off the tongue as much.
Because you hang, then you swerve.
Oh, well, I guess.
I don't know what that means.
It is what happens, I guess, when people like get hung.
And they swerve.
They swerve. A swerve when I hang.
I should have done that. Sorry, guys. Yes. Hang Swerve.
Hang Swerve. But if we're getting that at all in, then yeah, I suppose it does line up Ospreay to win the Owen. But I suppose in my head, I still had they were going to do the rematch of Swerve and Moxley for Double or Nothing, and they might still do. You know, Swerve. There was no like Swerve did not definitively lose this match. Moxley did not definitively win. Like he didn't put him down. It was other people that put him down. But I do feel we are going to get this tag match.
I wouldn't run this back a Double or Nothing for the simple fact is you're going to be pissing people off even more.
If Mox doesn't win again. If Mox wins again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
the only reason to run this back is if Swerve wins.
No, yes. Thank you. Don't run it back because weirdly enough, Swerve Strickland's pay-per-view record's quite spotty at the moment in a weird way. He hasn't been as, you can say the only match he's won so far is Ricochet. Besides that, he's been very generous, and you don't want to run it back and ruin the mystique of Swerve Strickland. So start this build towards Double or Nothing. People are thinking Anarchy in the Arena is probably the reason why all of this is happening.
Oh, of course, because it's Double or Nothing. It's the annual Anarchy in the Arena match. I forgot about that.
Because people are thinking, they basically showed you what the main event's going to be. Ops, Swerve, Hangman, and Death Riders, and the Bucks.
Yeah, I guess. I was about to say, what do you do with Moxley at Double or Nothing? But that does track. That adds up.
It could. One of them can sit out. I don't know who's going to sit out. I don't know what the numbers are right now because, you know.
Maybe Willie Utah probably. Or Pac will have visa issues and can't get across.
Don't say that. I feel like Pac's been quite consistent recently, you know, which is good because usually it's the annual visa issue month, year, whatever. But yeah,
in the Arena makes sense.
Yeah, everyone actually are actively mad. They even say, we don't even need to do this every year. That's how annoyed people are online because you know me, I'm notoriously online lurking so I can report back to Luke.
I don't see this stuff until you come in and tell me what it is.
Yeah, because people are saying it.
I honestly had not even considered Anarchy in the Arena, but that actually makes almost too much sense that it has to be the direction for Double or Nothing, and then that can lead into Moxley versus Will Ospreay at All In. Fingers crossed Will gets the win there. And then you can do...
Really? That's not what people are thinking. People are thinking that Tony Khan is an honorable man. Like, this is probably to a fault. You know, they say double-edged sword to a honorable person. He probably looked Darby Allin in the eyes. You climb that mountain. When you come down...
You're planting the actual flag of AEW on top of Mount
I'm
Everest.
proud of you. I love you. When you come back, we're going to give you the title. And they gave him a warm embrace. Snug one. Don't die. Good luck. We'll send you money in a helicopter or a care pack if you get hungry. Helicopter on you. On us. So I think it's a gentleman's agreement. He can't break. He promised the title to Darby. He has to see it through. Ospreay's going to be another collateral damage because, I don't know, for a lot of people, you think they probably want to give Ospreay's first world title win in the UK, maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean... I think he's as over. Maybe
he is.
Like he's more over here, but it's not like he is not over in the US.
He's over everywhere. I know that because you know what? That's probably like a mentality that needs to die as well. It shouldn't be every time when someone wins the first world title, it should be in the hometown because usually it's not. You know, because it's been touted. You know, CM Punk won his first AEW world title in Vegas, so it happens in different places. So yeah, Texas is going to be the new home of Will Ospreay.
So yeah, I mean, I actually came out of this feeling fairly like positive about it because I was surprised and I was also expecting this retention, but I hadn't actually considered sort of like the next steps of this outside of, although, you know, they could do the rematch and run it back at some point and you could do the tag match with the Bucks. Yeah. But I am like, now it's a bit more sort of like laid on the table. I'm like, all right, I think I get now why there is so much like a disinterest perhaps around this because the idea of doing another Anarchy in the Arena match and then doing the tag match at All In, and it's not Swerve to be the man to defeat Moxley, and if it's not going to be Will, then we are going to... I know I've been the one who's been banging this drum, being like, nope, we're going to be hanging on for Darby, but I got myself off that train because I just thought,
no,
I think like the time has passed on that.
I'm gonna put this chewing gum in this tissue. Thank goodness I sneezed a lot. I could talk more clearly now. Wrestle Dream may be the symbolic time for the title change. It is where everything went down, right?
Yeah, but that's a long ways away, man. I mean, and I suppose, is it in Tacoma again? Is it in Washington again?
And who is a Seattle boy?
He's a Seattle boy.
And guess who could come out? Because it's right down the road.
Exactly, yeah. Like, it's Darby going down to the ring accompanied by Bryan Danielson.
So I think that's what it is as well. I think Tony Khan has a plan. He has to see it through. For the first time in his life, he's like, criticism be done. Mm-hmm. I have a plan. I'm going to see it through. I admire him because a lot of times, had they derailed or pivoted, I would have went on Reddit. What do you think the outcome was meant to be for Death Riders? There's many people like coming up with solutions. What was meant to be the idea? Was there a pivot? Why did it go wrong? Yada, yada, yada. He has to see it through. And when it's over, it'll go up there with Jeff Jarrett, Triple H in terms of Reigns of Terrors that people are not happy with, be on your top 10 lists or list of when AEW was kind of cold for a bit, whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm used to Mox putting in the briefcase. I don't mind it being I love the symbolism of it. It is quite annoying how people are feeling, but you did a great job of actually telling me, or he may not win, and this is the reason why. And I came to terms with it. When it didn't happen, I was like, well, Luke did a great job of preparing me for this, and I'm fine.
So I also think it helps. I thought this was a very good main event.
You liked it?
I liked the match, yeah. I liked the match. I liked it way more than the Revolution match. Maybe that's my benchmark, is that I was comparing it to the Revolution match, which I did not like in the least.
The pacing was not great at all. I think there's certain things I liked. I liked the swerve stomp off the ladder. That was good. Marina Shafir getting RKO'd, getting a cutter. That's LOL in his own thing. And I also love when Prince Nana, I don't know, he's just like, he's almost... Theodore Long level of obtuse with not only surrounding. He come in, listen here, hussy.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna.
It was weird. Like, he got in the ring and he was like, "Don't you use the briefcase?" Then just turned around.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Nana? You're like, see it through, man.
And then he got clocked and he pantomimely fell down. I was like, I love this guy. Like, everything about. So there was certain. I'm doing like certain snapshots made sense and or made me entertained. But in terms as a whole as a match, I think it suffers from the simple fact that AEW is like on speed, like the drug or pace. In terms of like everything goes fast. Yeah. Yes. What is speed? I'm talking about Sonic level speed. I'm talking about like each match is boom, 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 and when you get to the main event, it's kind of like glacial paced at times. So it's quite jarring for a lot of people. It's like, this is the main event.
It's the flavors of ice cream that we talk about. Like a Moxley match tastes different to a Kenny Omega triple threat. It tastes different to a Hurt Syndicate tag team match.
But whoever does their match, whoever is like the coach or the producer for the match, should get penalized because it is the pacing of the match. Because I don't remember Mox having glacial paced matches all the time. It used to have some heat behind it. It used to feel like a big fight feel. But now it's like people saying it's part bloodline, it's part this, it's part that.
It's very bloodline-esque of a lot of like, George acting around the ring and stuff. Like, I honestly, it may just be because I thought the Revolution main event was so stinky that I enjoyed this one a hell of a lot more. Like, if I was on a Dave Meltzer rating scale, it's probably 3 stars. Like, I'm not saying like, it's a match of the year contender, but I enjoy this way more than Revolution.
People saying is butt cheeks upon butt cheeks. I'm censoring myself about what they're saying. They're saying like, had it been, because some people comparing it to WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40 and WrestleMania 39 basically, and people saying, well, it was a generational match, but a butt cheeks ending. So I don't know if you can say A double crooked letter. And someone goes, no, that was butt cheeks upon butt cheeks, as in the match wasn't great and the finish wasn't great. To the point you have Ibu.
Now I see what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Then you have Ibu, back of Hangman, saying, I didn't expect Matt and Nick Sokoa.
Hey, they were not in hoodies.
They weren't in hoodies, no, but a lot of people were not happy, and I was looking at it and I was like, because it's happened, I don't want to join in. I processed it. I was like, oh, they did. That's what they went with. And I'm gonna respect it because it's still a journey. The guys, they say he's cooking. Okay, I want to see what the meal is. I'm gonna let him cook. People say, been cooking for how many months? It's not great.
I think that is the problem, right? Yeah. Is like it's We've been told that the camera mic is on. It's not. I can tell you right now. I'm literally looking at the screen. There's only one thing that's bouncing. So I don't know. The echo is probably being caused by YouTube. If you just give it a little refresh, that should fix the issue. But what was the point I was going to make? Yeah, I think that's where we're kind of hitting this issue with this Mox title run. Is there is a good story to be found in the. I mean, literally look at the bloodline of the guy who was always winning, and you're just desperate for that guy to take the belt off him. You're desperate for it. But we haven't got a Cody Rhodes here.
No.
We haven't got a guy that we're looking at to be like, and this is the guy that's going to lead us into this new generation of WWE. This is the guy that's going to be lead into the new generation of AEW, the new era of AEW. And I think people weren't potentially looking at that as Swerve Strickland, or, maybe they'll be looking at as Will Ospreay. I don't think, and time can change on this, anyone is looking as Darby Allin as that guy. And that is going to harm this storyline even more so, because now people are just going to be on the countdown waiting for Darby to get back from his little excursion before we get to the fireworks factory and move into this new era. And the longer this goes on, the more discontent that's going to breed. Mm-hmm. And it's not the good kind of the good kind of heat where people want to see the belt off. It's the bad kind of heat where people just get sick and tired of it.
It is an interesting layer of cake. Everything is great from the bottom, and then when you get to the top, that's when you start getting sick or you're getting upset. So I don't know, because you can't say, AEW across the board is terrible. It was a good show, and then the main event happened, and I don't want it to erase the goodness of the show as we're gonna talk about the rest of the matches, but. I still like Moxley, by the way, because you get a lot of people, because of what's happening right now, they're trying to rewrite history that he was never great. He was the least interesting member of the Shield, or
that's bullshit.
He's overrated. He's not as good as the others, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, listen, they're going for something. We're not completely on board. That's what the issue. There's a disconnect. There's been a wide disconnect between the audience and what creative wants to do, and I think AEW has earned enough cachet to actually do this, to actually be stubborn, because usually they do pivot. Usually they look at online criticism. It may take a while, like switching to smaller arenas. It took them a while.
Well, things are pre-booked ahead of time.
That's as well. I don't run a business of booking venues.
You can't just book venues a week out from a show, or a few months out from a show. Like, you have to, these venues get booked up, so you have to lay out your travel schedule quite far ahead of time.
I love it because he plays like he's a GM on W2K games, and all of a sudden he knows how to break down the budget of the sheet.
I would have thought I'd imagine there probably have been some conversations. I don't know this for certain, but I would imagine there have been some conversation about, do we pivot? And if they're going to be the guy to pivot and they don't want to do Swerve because they want to instead run this Swerve and Hangman versus the Bucks storyline, then I'd say pivot to Will, because there is a right time to just put the belt on Will. And it's any time he's in the ring in a world title match. That is the time to put the belt on Will. So that is the time that I would do it.
Well, I guess it would be the second opportunity for the title. Yes, it's kind of like now or never. No, not now or never. But it's even now or next year, or now in a few months.
It does. I saw on the Dynamite show. We talked about the wild card going up against Hangman Page. I was like, a lot of people say, it could be Josh Alexander, and I was like, no, it'll be Jeff Jarrett, because that plays into the Owen from last year, and it gives Hangman a win to get through, because I thought that the finals would be Hangman and Will. But if Hangman's going to be in Anarchy in the Arena, that means that maybe the wild card is going to be someone like a Josh Alexander, and Josh comes in, and the Bucks cost Hangman in the first round, and then Josh can go through, and the finals are Will and Josh.
I don't think people are going to like that. You know what? I'm going to see how things go, because at the moment, people are not happy, man. People are legit. They're not across the board. I'm reading think pieces, people with blue checks, because they've got long paragraphs. So I'm just reading.
Twitter sounds exhausting, man.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you reasons why you shouldn't come back to Blue Sky. Blue Sky don't even pay for this advertisement. Actually, they should pay me, because this is for free.
So I find a lot of social media exhausting at this point.
It really is. I do like
old man now.
I like chilling with my family and raising my kids. That's why I don't have time for large things. I just do 2 notes and just leave.
I'm a podcast man. You know, like I'll once this show's finished. I try not to listen to too many podcasts before I do my own review.
Yeah, you don't want
to be like influenced by others. But like on my, for the next few days now, I'm just going to start listening to Sean's review. I'll listen to Going in Raw. I'll listen to Rest Things when they have their episode out. I'll listen to Gorilla Position when they have an episode out. If they do discuss this, because I imagine they'll talk about, touch upon it a little bit. That's how I consume a lot of my wrestling opinion stuff, because I think that's a far more effective way of getting thoughts rather than people who are looking to just get engagement farming.
Yeah, and also Grapsody, they're good as well. They do very impartial in their argument and in terms of their points. Yeah. Well,
let's hear what you've got to say about this. This rather contentious point, and there's a lot of people with a lot of thoughts. So let's get into these. WrestleTalk.com/support. You can get your thoughts read out on the air. And Kevin kicks things off to say, "I woke up this morning. Got yourself a gun." Watching The Sopranos at the moment. Knowing the length of the show, I skipped straight to the main event because I didn't want to wait 4 hours to know if Mox retained. Thank God I did. What the hell was that match? It was the first match I saw and got bored. After the Willow angle, the Glass angle, and these two being the most dangerous guys in AEW, the match starts with Matt wrestling. The interference were fine up until the Bucks reveal. I was mad after that stinker of a match that this was the finish. Well, I thought that was kind of the story they're telling in the lead of this, though, is that Moxley needs to change up his game plan to take Swerve down, because he literally powerbombed him into glass, right? Claudio powerbombed into glass, and it didn't work.
No.
So just going violence out the gate is not going to work either. You need to change your strategy.
Change it up, man.
Yeah. Imari Ish here said, "What are we doing here? Another show with great matches that's going to be overshadowed by the close. This isn't like 2000s WCW that people will claim, but it feels pretty similar to 2010s WWE with the you don't know what you want, we do mindset."
I don't think that's the same mindset. I don't think it's Tony Khan actively trying to annoy people. I think it's like they've planned things and they're like, let us see it through. I know you're frustrated. There's going to be a happy ending, guys. Once we get there, you're going to forget.
I think it's also a bit of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because like you're damned if you are sticking to the plan, which is, a lot of times as wrestling fans, we're like, why don't people just stick to the plan and not like pivot from things? But you're also damned if you do pivot, because then you'll be getting criticized from people who are like, well, why don't you just stick to your plan, stick to your guns? It really is it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I'm of the camp of, you know what, we're here. Because it already happened. Had Swerve won, and Swerve won. There's storylines in the past, but this is our reality, and I'd rather see things through.
Also, I will slightly also disagree with the point as well that it's similar to 2010's WWE, because 2010's WWE, none of the card was good. Where at least with AEW, the undercard is very good.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone is legit, like, everyone's entitled to the opinion to be annoyed, but it's like to the point where I don't want people sound miserable. Like, it's kind of like when a sports team lose. I'm going to use that as an analogy for people who watch sports. It's disappointing, but then you just rehab, man, in terms of like you pick yourself up and then you believe again. That's what you have to do. Like,
I would say it is more like being a fan of TNA in the mid-2000s, which is you were looking at a roster of guys being like, why aren't they the champion? Meanwhile, Bree Woo, Jeff Jarrett is doing that's why I called it. Every single time. Beating Monty Brown, beating Jeff Hardy, beating AJ Styles, just beating all of these guys.
You know what? Tony Khan's like, it's my time now to have my own reign of terror that people can talk about and reference.
Hannah Allen, Mox and Swerve was strong. Honestly, I'm ready for the Shane O'Mac pop. Wink. Like the rest of the community, this current version of Mox has run its course. My Bucks mark has been showing since day one. Still, a lot of swears there. Hells yeah, loves the fam, jam that jam. Britt Baker for WWE has said, I think Hangman asked the Elite, brackets Young Bucks, for a favor to not let Swerve become champion, but he forgot to retract that request and the Young Bucks went through with it. Now Hangman is left with conflicting feelings. Next storyline is going to be epic. I think there's more, the fact that Hangman did not actually go after Swerve in this match, I think he's going to play a part into this, particularly after the back of what happened on Dynamite where Swerve said, I know, when Hangman told him that he deserved what he got. We are going to build to these unlikely partners coming together.
You're going to see more Hangman looking conflicted, because I do think it's going to be the Bucks saying, hey man, look, we took out the guy that's been tormenting you. We're your friends. We love you. All that kind of good stuff. And then Hangman has to go with, you're trying to manipulate me again. You always do this to me. And then you got this guy. I think what it is that might make him tip the scale of helping Swerve out is Swerve never lies to him. You guys lied to me. At least I know where this guy's, business is. You guys, I think it's a dishonesty that might tip their hand in terms of making this tag team match happen. Yeah, this is could be exciting if you get on board.
Richie R said, I mean no disrespect to anyone personally, but how tone deaf do you have to be to book an ending like this? The Young Bucks teaming with the Death Riders is just a step too far from a bad story. AEW jumped the shark and need to pivot as soon as possible. That is the one thing I probably would slightly agree with. You know, I don't want to be the let it play out guy because I think that's because I think that can often be just a term for like, I will excuse bad booking because I don't want to say that it's bad booking. But it is a case of the last time we saw the Bucks as they were running away from the Death Riders.
Exactly.
I'm wanting to hear a good, if you can give me a good storyline reason as to why they are teaming together, then thumbs up. If you cannot, thumbs down.
It's the Bucks. They can get what we're saying. We just didn't feel like saving the soul of AEW.
No, if it is just that, then I'm like, well, why did you run away in the first place? Why were you tearing up those contracts? Why were you shredding all those documents? I need an actual follow-up to the angle that they shot last year where they ran away and left Jack Perry. Where's he, by the way? If there is no follow-up to that, and it is just a case of like, we're the Bucks and we can do whatever we want, that thumbs down from me. You gotta do better.
I can actually see that happening because we don't have to give you an explanation. You just have to learn to love it.
That's a thumbs down from me if that's the case, brother.
Oh, man.
Kuzu here said, I'm glad someone enjoyed that main event. I was baffled by the ending. Got angry for a bit, then just resigned myself. In my heart, I wanted Swerve to win, but intellectually, I knew it wasn't going to happen. I just wish he looked better in defeat. I mean, he was going to win. He was going to win the belts. Like he had the match won.
It was the case of the referee was out of place. Moxley was out of place because he had to like crawl himself over. And a part of me was thinking, because it was already spoiled to me, like what happens, how it happens as well, lights go out and that kind of stuff. So I was thinking, is it going to be on the pinfall? Is he going to do a visual pin? And that's when the interference happens? Like, no, they're not going to bother with that stuff. No.
The Schwa Man here said, my first AEW pay-per-view had an amazing time. Feels like even AEW's weaker stories feel well built, but damn, I'm devastated over Swerve's loss. Were the Bucks out there to help Mox, or do you think this is what Hangman wants? Loved the show. These are the sort of like bits of intrigue that I am heading into Dynamite with. Ket, I can't be bothered with Mox's title reign anymore. I'm not a fan of the Bucks, so adding them to the group doesn't interest me. On a positive note, Kenny versus Okada has my attention, and Jericho proving the haters wrong and had another good match. #JerryGoat. I mean, like maybe I'm going to sound like the weird one here, but you want to talk about butt-ass endings to matches.
Oh. Hey, listen, you're not the only one. We're going to talk about this. This was ridiculous. They should have went straight. You know what? They should have went straight to the point of like winning cleanly. But we're going to get to a match
we'll get to that
was overbooked for no reason.
Maybe that's also why I didn't hate the ending of this match so much, because I didn't like the ending of that other one. Sean Martin here said, does everyone remember that Omega chat from last year where they compared the elite Young Bucks to corrupt politicians and the Death Riders to the cartel who were hired by them? Seems like they were right all along.
Because that's another thing as well I don't really mind, because it would be kind of hypocritical. It's kind of like you guys did the same thing last year. It is like faction of the year, because last year was the new elite trying to take over AEW, and Death Riders trying to do a similar thing over there. Although they have different philosophies, hence why the Bucks ran away in the first place. But it could be like they're trying to curry favor. Maybe they didn't know. I think that's what the explanation would be. It would be like the Death Riders didn't know, and the Bucks were just at home looking at what's going on. But to be honest, this is why I think the Bucks did it. Wasn't Swerve Strickland getting mouthy last year? My AEW. I think it's a continuation of that beef. As much as it sounds...
I'd like that, as long as there is a good link between what they were doing last year and what they've done here. Because if it is a case of they came out, like if they do a Rikishi promo, it's like, we did it for the Hangman. Like, it
might be.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate that. It's just like, we love you so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like, I asked you a favor to do this.
No.
It's like, no, we love you so much, and we thought you weren't going to do this.
Yes.
So we know what is best for you.
Yes.
That I can get on board with. It's not them joining the Death Riders.
I can see them. We feel bad for suspending you. We're trying to make this up to you, hey buddy, and then a slap on the arm. The condescending Young Bucks nonchalant promo. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting them being very douchey, for lack of better terms.
And for good or for bad, I don't know what this actually means. It could be bad. It could be a good thing. But I will say of this pay-per-view, we've got more people watching this stream currently than we did for Revolution.
There you go. This is great.
I mean, for good or for ill, at least it has got people talking about it. Whether it's bad or not is another matter, or is it good or bad is another matter. But this has garnered more interest than the last pay-per-view did. I get the impression it's probably people who are more wanting to see like some anger and fury and more like, no, FAEW, Tony Khan's bad and whatever it is. That sort of thing.
No, we're going to be balanced. I always want to be balanced. I don't want to be that guy because I feel like I mentioned, Twitter is doing it for you. Reddit is doing it for you. People that speaks in a room with nice lights and microphone in their face, they're gonna do it for you. We're about being objective and trying to see things from different angles because we are humans at the end of the day. It's true, but there'll be certain people that want hope. If we don't give you any hope, you'll be like, there's no reason for me to watch this because I don't want people to be miserable. I just want to put some light at the end of the tunnel.
I don't know, you say that, but I had 2 comments left on the same Instagram post that when I put up pictures of me at Raw. One saying, this is so surprising because you're the biggest AEW butt licker. And another person saying, like, it's so surprising you went to the show because you hate WWE so much and are paid by AEW to like it. So I was like, I can't be both. But some people think I'm one and some people think I'm the other.
Did you block these people?
Of course I did. I'm not a monster. Of course I blocked them.
Yes, and this is why my Instagram's private. Like legit. When people do add me, I do go through your profile. If you posted nothing on your Instagram, you're not following my account. If it looks like you're a normal individual and you have a good life and you go outside and have a good time, I accept follows. But if you're one of those people, no. Because I had someone post on my own personal picture with my mates. I was like, what is this? This is what happens when you're a human being and then you do stuff and it's like the both worlds should not be together. But yeah, wow. Can't believe that happened to you, dude.
Person in the chat there. This is a pro WWE show. Danny G here said, I hate the finish of Revolution, but I was actually okay with Mox winning there because of the intrigue. I like the Bucks, so glad to see them back, but there needs to be a reason. Hated the cluster F Jericho Bandido finish, though. Just wanted to say that. You're not alone, Danny G. And I guess that's it. I need there to be a reason for this. Brett here says, I'm just trying to figure out how the Bucks chose to side with Mox and the Death Riders. If you could predict, why do you think that the Bucks screwed Swerve? Because I'm a bit confused. I did enjoy Dynasty, but very much overall, that ending confused me. I think it's we did it for the Hangman. That's my current thinking.
I did it for the Hangman. I did it.
Right, let's get into the rest of this show. Sometimes it's actually quite hard for me to find my notes for this because the way that Google Docs is formatted, I have it as a date, then AEW, and then I write Dynamite, or I do the date, then WWE Raw. Because the first few letters of Dynamite and Dynasty are the same, it is just like DYAN and then ... So I had to take a bit of a guess as to which one of my notes it is. But I've got it. Oh, I've opened the wrong one again.
No. Oh, no.
It's this one. Yes, it is. I got it. Right, so we opened up with Owen Hart tournament action as Will Ospreay took on Kevin Knight. So we talked about on the Dynamite review on Thursday, Fightful Select had reported that this was supposed to be Jay White in this position. And Jay White being taken out of the tournament had to change the plans of the tournament somewhat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was supposed to be Will versus Jay in the opening round, but he got injured. He's going to be out for a little while, replaced by Kevin Knight. JR was out on commentary for this. I don't know if this is confirmed or anything like that. There was no belt for the Owen. It was just a cup.
Yes,
Are we getting rid of the belt?
I like the belt. You know what? I was one of those people. I'm like, tournaments should be for cups. What is this belt nonsense? And then Mariah May whacked the heck out of Toni Storm with her belt. And I was like, you know what? I like these belts. And also, Ricky Starks wore his belt for a bit. And I kind of like that. That was the thing where they win the belt for a bit. But I don't know. Maybe it's like they got too many belts. I don't know, criticism.
If it's getting rid of the belts and it's just becoming a cup, that for me takes Mercedes Moné out the running of winning it. Which I kind of figured she was anyway, because I think the idea is more to do her versus Athena at All In. But yeah, I thought the only reason for her to win is to have another belt to put on the belt card.
Right. But again, I have my heel Jamie Hater agenda to win the Owen.
I think Jamie's winning 100. Jamie is my bet to win the tournament.
I feel like it will explain why her booking, because you know it's kind of like, I'm gonna use the Naomi analogy. Naomi was meandering, doing nothing, and look where she's gonna have a WrestleMania match. You want to say, look, this lackluster return, there was a reason for it. She did remember we used the word side quest. It's called a side quest for a reason. It's not a main mission. It's called we're gonna make her go all around the houses, and when it's time, we make her enter to the main program.
I wouldn't say that just getting a main program at All In is an excuse for having lackluster booking for the return of Jamie Hayter.
No, there's visas issues.
Well, the visa issues have been a problem.
Visa issues and the fact that they wanted to use her clout to get other people over, like Julio.
This was a very, very fun match, though. Really, like, it was there to accomplish two things. One, Will to put on a great match and advance through to the Owen, but really to make a name for Kevin Knight as well. Because like the story of this match was that Kevin found reversals for every single thing that Will was throwing at him. Like, Will's basic story of this match was, I'm going to hit you with a bloody Styles Clash. And every time he tried, Kevin Knight found a reversal for it. Really, really good.
It was Kevin Knight's coming out party because you saw a snapshot of what it can do on Dynamite and Collision, but this was like letting people know this is why AEW snapped him up, and this is the reason why WWE was like, do you want to come and tumble and roll and show us what you can do in the ring? This guy is very, very talented, one of the best wrestlers to come out from the New Japan dojo, and I'm so happy that he gets to show that on, because I feel like he's gained more fans. I feel like I know how Will Ospreay works. He's the kind of guy when he likes a wrestler. Look what happened to AR Fox. You know, AR Fox been in the business for a long time. Will Ospreay is the kind of guy he'll formulate a match around getting someone over. He's so selfless. If he likes a wrestler, he goes, dude, we're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, this and that. He was very giving and selfless in this match. It wasn't a case of someone that was kind of like paranoid by their positions, like, oh, I might make myself look great. He gave Kevin Knight a lot, made him look like an equal, made him look like someone you need to watch out for, and the guy is very bouncy in the ring. Bouncy.
He was Will, and I'll talk about this when we get to Mercedes and Julia Hart as well. It's like, I know I'm going to win. Like, and it's, you know, but the point of this is to just make you look as good as I did as well. Because when I beat you, then it's an even bigger thing that I beat you.
Thank you. That should be the logic.
And it kind of, I give you more, you get more out of losing to me than you do out of just having a good match with
Bingo.
me. And I really, really enjoyed this. Will eventually hit the Styles Clash, hit an Oz Cutter, and a hidden blade for the win. Really, really great match that established Kevin Knight on the AEW roster. We had the Hurt Syndicate taking on the Learning Tree for the AEW Tag Team Championships. The story of this one was that the Hurt Syndicate could not find an answer for Big Bill because he's too darn big. And then an answer came in the form of MJF, who appeared in the crowd, and he bopped Big Bill with the Dynamite Diamond ring. And then you cut to like the ring, and Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are like, what you did? What's that all about? And then they turn around, there's poor Brian Keith on his own. They were like, well, let's just murder this guy for quickly and win and retain these titles. And they murdered him, retained the tag titles, and then posed with this whole deal of like, that was not the plan.
Did you not find like the layout of the match a bit weird? Basically, the Learning Tree were baby faces in the match. They will book like babyface, like they were like babyface in peril, especially with Brian Keith, which makes sense. You don't want to do a thing of like Shelton Benjamin has to like
sell for Brian Keith.
He has to. No, you can sell for Brian Keith. I'm not even talking about size or stature. It's just like they're going for this Road Warrior-esque kind of booking for the Hurt Syndicate, so it makes sense for them to dominate the match because you wouldn't have it any other way. But it's just that it was weird because Big Bill then came out to his old theme song. Like he's been dressing more like the Big Bill that came into AEW, not like the Redwood who's been wearing trunks and talk about them philosophical stuff they've been doing with the Learning Tree. So they obviously came in with a chip on their shoulder, which is to prove to their guru Chris Jericho that they are worthy of to be under the Learning Tree. But it felt like it was a baby face, even to the point where at one point it seems like you said, Big Bill was taking it to them, and they had a Big Bill problem, and MJF kind of helped them.
And that's because Big Bill is going to turn babyface. He's going to tag with Enzo.
Who's Enzo? Like they're going to bring in a guy and call him Enzo. They're going to bring in.
I don't know, man.
No.
It's been my prediction for 2025. The Big Bill is going to tag with Enzo.
No. So basically, if I want Big Bill to reach a tag team quota after Brian Keith, he's maxed out of tag team partners. It's like, oops, decline, solo competitor, please. Big Bill should be a solo competitor. He's everything we've been begging for to have in a big guy. He can talk. He looks great. He's a better wrestler now than he was when he was Big Cass. So please, Big Bill for the TNT title. Please, that is what I want for the agenda, and possibly a world title reign, because AEW is allergic of giving big man titles, world titles. Yeah.
I don't think that AEW are particularly great with big guys.
No,
like there's like a litany of big guys that they have, to quote the youth, have fumbled along the way. Like Wardlow is chief among them, but I think like a Powerhouse Hobbs is a guy that's just like, I don't really know what to do with you because you're just a big meaty dude. Like we can't put the world title on you, so I don't really know what else to do with with you.
Of all the guys you mentioned, weirdly enough, Wardlow is a one-trick pony. Big Bill's got a bigger upside than Wardlow. I'm sorry. The only thing that Wardlow's got upside on is age over him, because Wardlow's still in his like early to mid 30s, while Big Bill's in his late 30s. Hence why I'm saying, please, this guy's the same age as you, by the way. Same age as you. It's now or never. I know Vince McMahon did a weird thing where he blocked everyone's blessings. He's like, we're going to have Roman Reigns champion for 5 years. So a lot of guys couldn't get up in the world. But please, let's not do that. I think that's what people are angry with the Death Riders thing. Like, if you continue this long reigns, there'll be wrestlers that's going to be missing their peaks in terms of they're really being over. Yeah.
It's Jarrett and TNA. Like, it's, the only reason I said the Enzo thing is because when they came out, the Titantron that they had, or the Tron, I don't know what's called now, the big screen, didn't say...
The Contron.
It didn't say... Redwood Big Bill and Brian Keith. It just said Redwood Big Bill. He basically wrestled this match as a singles guy that also had another one with him. And I was like, well, this team is not lasting long. And then I was like, well, he has got another tag partner that he can always just pick up the phone to. And you know what? They were over a decade ago.
Again, it's a decade ago. Move on. I think nostalgia sometimes kills what should be in the present. They always say leave things in the rear view mirror, because when you look behind you, you can't see what's ahead of you. It might be a crash. That's why you need to look ahead of you. So no.
Mercedes Mone took on Julia Hart in the Owen Hart tournament. Mone, I thought, was pretty fun in this match. So, like, early doors, she botched her little, like, run up the rope arm drag thing.
Yes, that's my highlight.
And the crowd, got onto her. And what I really like about Mercedes Mone is that she just let it sink in. She didn't, try and move on and try and ignore it. She's like, no, I'm just going to soak this heat in for a little bit, and I'm going to do my pose. And by doing the pose, the crowd booed more at her, turning a negative into a positive for the match. And it really helped, because by the end of it, the people were so into Julia Hart winning this match. From what I can gather, there is a lot of chat about how like Mercedes Mone is just like lost it, or she was never good in the first place, or like she's just like on autopilot mode. And I just don't see it. Like every time I see Mercedes wrestle, like she's always putting on these banger matches.
Mercedes is incredible in the ring. The only criticism is she doesn't wrestle down. She's very ambitious to the point where she believes her opponent can be just as good as her in the ring, because that's what it was. She had ambitious moves which her opponent couldn't quite do. The match was a mess. But no, before people think, no. I like the fact it was a mess. It wasn't polished. It was real. You can't have fumbles. It was a case of like they tried moves, it didn't go the way you want it to, and I'm gonna be that guy. I'm sorry, Julia did fumble a lot, but they still made it work. It was clunky in places. Certain things, the timing was off.
Crucifix bomb was a bit like, it took us like 5 minutes to get into the move.
Exactly, but you know what? It added to the match, and the fact, had it been a dead crowd, I think it would have been amplified.
100%.
But the crowd were into it because they wanted Julia to win. And I was like, but Julia's the reason why you're booing some of the moves. But anyway, I like the fact it was a mess. I love the fact it was uncoordinated in places. It's kind of like a real fight. A real fight is not always like ballet. And I like there's a different flavor of ice cream. It was one where it's got unintentional flavors from the other ice cream on it by accident, but you still eat it. You're like, strawberry on my vanilla, sure. Chocolate pieces. Oh, a little bit of nut.
I thought it got good by the end. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it was a mess for people that haven't seen it, but it's a kind of mess that you should appreciate because you don't see it often.
Death Riders took on Rated FTR for the Trios Championship. This is a fun one because Wheeler Yuta is from Philadelphia, and this Philadelphia crowd wanted to boo that boy. Boo. Absolute state of his hair as well.
That's heat. That's heat, man.
That is heat, brother, right there. The absolute state of him.
Do you think when he goes on dating apps, because that's heat, man? That's like that. Like you don't. Your beard and your hair.
It's like his beard's this big messy thing. He's got this big mop of hair.
And he goes, I'm a performer. What, like a method actor? Sort of.
Absolutely love it. I think if I met Wheeler Yuta in real life, that'd be the first thing I'd say to him was like, state of your hair. But I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it adds. I mean, it adds to the character.
It does,
and it also adds to the trauma that he still has over turning Bryan Danielson. He's guilty, so he's manifested in weird ways.
It's manifested by like Bryan Danielson not cutting his hair, not trimming his beard, because he's gonna end up looking like Danielson did going into Mania 30.
See, he knows. He's currently nearing like was it the SummerSlam match against John Cena that that era of Danielson. I forgot, is it 2013?
Yeah, 2013. It's when he was in like a very awkward phase when he was growing his hair out and growing his beard out as well, because he could have the long hair. But as someone who, you know, as a teenager grew his hair out, you have to go through that awkward phase where it's just this mess on top of your head that eventually will become long, luscious, like it did for me. Oh, my hair was gorgeous. But you do have to go through the awkward phase of.
Do you mourn your hair when you look at old pictures?
Do I mourn it? No, because I think I suit being bald.
I watched Black Bag. By the way, it's a quick pivot. There was a character in there who's bald headed. He had similar facial hair to you, and I was like, oh my gosh, it could be Luke as an assassin.
I regret not shaving my head before my wedding, because now my wedding photo has got me with like when I was trying to figure out what to do with the lack of hair that I still had while I was trying to hold on to it. So I kind of regret that, because I look at my wedding photos now and I'm like, man, if I had just shaved my head like a couple of years earlier, these would be much nicer photos. They're still nice.
I mean, you can have a discussion.
My wife looks nice.
Yeah, you can have a discussion with your wife where you can use certain technologies to superimpose.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could do. You know, honestly, I could throw it to ChatGPT and it will throw me back like this weird like hand face, but at least it, you know, won't be me with a comb over.
That was hinted at, but I know certain people don't like it, so I was trying to like, you know, put the razor blade in the mashed potato.
That's fine. I'll just make fun of AI because that's the thing to do. But yeah, this was a fun match regardless anyway, because it's trios action and these 6 guys are awesome, so they get and they just did a lot of fun stuff. I particularly enjoyed the dual sharpshooter and slapping each other.
That was my highlight as well.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
I love Brett. No, I love Brett. More like, no, I love Tyson.
I really enjoy like the brutalizer on Dax, and you know Claudio is holding over Copeland, and Wheeler Yuta just jumps onto Cash's back, like outside the ring, because like, you know, Cash gets through. So Cash literally just like muscles him over and then just like throws himself to break up the move. Really good. Shadow Machine for a near fall. Cope nearly spears Dax but stops himself. Wheeler bonks their heads together and hits the Psycho knee for the win. Fun stuff.
Yes, it was a trios match with great wrestlers involved. It kind of made up for what's been a bit of a lackluster pay-per-view run for Cope. You know, people still have that Revolution match on their mind, but it was a good match. It's a shame we never had them as trios champion, because I felt like had Death Rider lost the title a little bit earlier, we could have had a rated FTR title you know, reign. It could have been them losing the title back to them to cause what we're about to talk about next.
Yeah, because it's likely they won't be teaming together anytime soon, because afterwards they hug and they throw their arms up in the air, but then Dax grabs Copeland and hits a pile driver on him.
I'm so shocked.
On the neck.
I'm so shocked.
And then he goes out to get the 2 chairs to hit the concerto. He puts one under Cope's head, and Cash is freaking out over all this. And he hands the chair to Cash. He's like, you do it. Cash looks at him and he throws the chair down. And he's like, what are you talking about? This man is our friend. This man opened up his doors. This man let us live in his house.
Yeah.
We are friends. We are all on the same page here. And he helps Adam Copeland up. And then he yanks his arm right into a Shadow Machine heel FTR. And immediately they went into full heel mode by mocking the fact that Adam Copeland has a bad neck. Because Cash goes, he gets the neck brace, but it's like, oh, ow, my neck. They lie onto the gurney and stuff while the EMTs are like, we're trying to save this man. And they're like, no, we're here to make fun of this man. And Dax is resuscitating Cash and stuff. A really like tremendous performance from FTR. Cope sold it great. I enjoyed this.
The reason why I enjoyed it is because I was surprised about that aspect. We've thought that they were gonna draw it out, and they did a nice little swerve, because they had the whole thing of like Cash goes, we're gonna talk after the pay-per-view. So we had in our mind that there's gonna be a Dynamite thing of like, why did you pile drive, you know, Cope? So you thought that's where the story's going, but like, no, he's just as dastardly as Dax. It's just Dax is more open about it, and he probably in his head is like, you know what, Cope, I'll give you one more chance. If you mess this up, I'm gonna take you.
That's it. When did he make the decision? When did he make the call that he was going to join Dax, or realize that Dax was right? And I think it probably was in this match where it was like, yeah, but this was I gave you one more chance. You failed to win a title on your 3rd attempt in the trios titles and the 2 world title attempts. So had to take you out, man. I
can see it, them framing it as like, we care about you, we love you, you just don't have what it takes anymore.
Yeah.
And you're too darn selfish, Brett. As I always say, you're too darn selfish to realize you don't have what it takes anymore. But I love my friend, and to see you fall apart, it hurts me. It hurts your kids. You didn't mention the kid's name, and Beth, and then after it's like, we had to take you out for your own good.
And you know what? you weren't even that good at tag team wrestling. Because it just so happens that Adam Copeland does have a former friend who is also having his own faction issues. And I think what might come next totally reeks of awesome.
But before we go to the next part, to go back with the comedy of FTR putting on a neck brace and resuscitation, someone greatly said that it was like a Kenny Powers kind of thing. It was like a Danny McBride sitcom moment, because it is like two Southern guys like, yeah, pow, oh yeah, look at my neck, resuscitate me.
Funny,
yeah, it is. I can see Walter Goggins and Danny McBride doing that. Like, heel turn, oh yeah, my neck hurts, oh yeah. That was just funny. And I love the fact that when they did a resuscitation, the neck was just popped. It was also comically popped at the neck because his neck's too thick. Girthy man there.
He is a girthy man. I'm going to the gym now. That is my aim. I'm going to look like Cash Wheeler by the end of the year.
There you go. You're going to look like Cash and Dax.
Got to have your aims in mind. Yeah, I'm going to be a mix of the two as well.
Why
because
not?
I've got the Dax face. I'm going to have the Cash bod.
No, you got the aesthetic. You don't have the face. I hate when people do that. I think people get, what's the word? You get lost in the bald heads. Because next thing you're going to say, I am Ricochet, but with lighter complexion.
I mean, dude, like, the second that I shaved my head, everyone was like, man, you look like Baron Corbin. I was like, I look nothing like Baron Corbin outside of the fact that we're both bald.
And then people use the word look. Sorry, I'm not an English teacher. It's not my thing. But people mean remind. That you just trigger a memory in their head. You don't look. You remind me of Baron Corbin because he's bald as well.
No, I tell you.
Bishop Dyer.
Oh, man. Why can't I not think of their name now? Because the only name, it was, Boys Don't Cry. $1 Million Baby. What's her name?
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. That is who I look like. I am the absolute spitting image of Hilary Swank.
You are.
Yeah. Particularly when I had long hair. Anyway, next up, could actually potentially be outside of the triple threat, my match of the night.
I think for me, it is my match of the night. I think because I've forgotten the order of the matches, and I really know what he's going to talk about. The women's match should have been the main event for me because I felt like how they did it. Is even how the ending, it was like, that's perfect.
I disagreed. Like last month, 100% with Revolution. Here, this was the right point of the card for me. But it was Toni Storm defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Megan Bayne. Clearly, just the first chapter and stuff that we're doing with Megasis here. I loved this match. I thought this match was tremendous and brilliantly built upon what has been very, very good TV build for this as well. And building up Megan Bayne, telling a really interesting story for Toni Storm. And then Toni has this feature presentation beforehand where they're in Philadelphia, so she does Rocky. And then she comes out wearing a boxing robe and like Luther is out there as Mickey, and it's just like, you can't do it, you bum. Get up, you bum. You can't beat him. You can't do it. And it was so like the presentation was the way that Storm just walked down to the ring. She's like, I'm going to do this.
Determination.
The determination on her face, because the story has been Toni Storm does not have an answer for Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne is all too powerful, and Toni Storm does not have an answer for that. And they carried that on through this match as well. I thought they were doing this so well because Bayne is in complete control, and like she does a dive, but she takes out Luther, and Toni Storm uses that distraction to hit a swinging DDT, using Luther as a platform to spin that round. But then Penelope Ford caused the distraction. So it allows Megan Bayne to get back up on top as well. Yeah. Luther takes Ford away after some more distraction.
Finally.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, step it up, Luther. Come on, Mickey. And then that's when Storm starts her comeback. And she finally hits a German suplex. She hits the hip attack in the corner. And just like on TV, Megan Bayne stands right back up. So Toni Storm looks her in the eyes and headbutts her back into position, runs to the corner, hip attack, back to the corner, hip attack, back to the corner, hip attack, drags her up, Storm 0, 1 kick out. Mm-hmm. Still not enough. And Toni Storm's like, uh-oh, I'm in danger. And Bayne dominates again. She goes to hit Fate's Descent, and Storm reverses that into the small package just to get their attention, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat.
Bingo. And
sold it so brilliantly of a, like, I cannot believe I survived that. And Megan, who never hit her finish, because if she had, would have been game over, protects her, protects the finish, protects the title, protects Toni Storm. 5 stars, A++.
It was. What I liked about the match the most, it was a demonstration of sorts. The reason why I say it's a demonstration is because you often hear people say, oh, so-and-so wrestler should go to Stardom. They should go to Japan and to develop more of their skill set. You've got two Stardom alumni from different generations, because they're two ships in the night. 2 generations of Stardom Gaijins in the ring together. And you saw why you going to Japan is beneficial to your development as a wrestler, because you had a demolition derby of a fight. Because despite Toni Storm being, shorter than Megan Bayne, she's got size to her. So you got 2 women clashing with the suplexes, the throws they were doing, and the headbutts and the flying clotheslines. It was just like a fight. It did not look pretty at all. It looked like 2 people out there. It's kind of like a fight to the death. And it's like one of these guys have to win. They have to put each other out. And I love the fact that Toni was fighting from underneath. And I said on X, formerly known as Twitter, that this is very much Bret Hart versus Diesel coded. It's right down to the small package in the end, because you have this towering giant taking down this valiant baby face, and they have to find different tricks, because the usual thing they'll win with is not going to work, and you have to be a thinking person's wrestler, and that's what Toni did. Very impressive. I feel like the second year of this character has very much met the expectation we had for it in the first place, because we went through a phase where Toni Storm was developing the timeless character, but it wasn't translating into the ring anymore. She was hiding certain elements of a character with comedy, but I feel like she's found herself even more as a babyface with this character. And I also realized that her character's kind of evolved as well. It's more colorful than in the past. I feel like they're doing a Hollywood thing, was like, well, we was strictly black and white, silent cinema, but we're now approaching 1950s with this Technicolor and all that kind of stuff. And shout out to RJ City, because that vignette he's the man behind that vignette, of course, because he's very pop culture in tuned. But yeah, I love the match. It was my favorite match of the night, and Megan Bayne is a real player.
I wonder if this is going to be the continuation now for the Toni Storm characters, that each of her title matches feels like a different movie. So, like the whole Mariah May feud was all about Eve. This one is Rocky. What is the next movie that they are going to sort of like ape for the next one? And that'll be like, it will inspire her entrance gear. Because there is like, what I particularly loved about Toni Storm in this performance, and not to take anything away from Megan Bayne, who I thought was fantastic in this as well. But Toni Storm could very be easily looked at as like, what a comedy character. Because at least she comes out in a Rocky robe and stuff, and she's got, the toneless Toni Storm persona about her.
Yeah.
But she sells so good that you buy into her performance. She doesn't feel like a comedy character. Because
there's no wink to it. She's delusional. I think it's the caveat of her, she is Toni Storm at the end of the day. She may be timeless, but it is world-renowned wrestler Toni Storm, prodigy, who's been wrestling since her teens, and this timeless element is like the entertainment element that add a little wrinkle to her character, because she always had it in ring, but in terms of a character, she's taking it to the next level. This is her promote. I feel like for me, she is the top face of the company, male or female. I feel like she's reaching that level where Becky Lynch reached, where it's like it's undeniable that this person, despite gender or being chosen gender representation or wherever you class yourself as, this is the person. Because I felt like this should be the main, for me, it should be the main event, because I feel like had she ended it with this, it gave me like 90s WWF Bret Hart run with the title. That's why I was with her. I was like, it was a big fight. The way she came out was very much the main event, the champions coming out, all right, this person been dominating, how are you gonna win, Toni? Give you the biggest small package.
I think it's just because the only reason why I don't think this could have been the main event or should have been the main event, like, it hasn't had the build on TV for it to be the main event. Right, yeah. 100% Storm versus May should have been the main event of Revolution.
Of course,
yeah. That, unquestionably should have been the main event. Here, though, this is chapter 1 of a story that we are telling. I don't think we're going to do a rematch between these two, but we will revisit this again down the line.
Yeah, you need something. But you mentioned something about films. I wonder if, because you know me, I got my heel hater agenda. I wonder if Jamie over a year ago they decided, I'm going to dress like I'm in the 70s or the 60s. So when we fight, we're going to revisit generations. Yeah. It could make sense finally, because you said, what film could it be? And I don't know, Rosemary's Baby. I don't know I don't know what they're going to do between them two. I don't know. It's Scooby-Doo.
Star Wars.
Exactly. I don't know.
We then switched over to Collision as Kyle Fletcher took on Mark Briscoe in an Owen Hart tournament match. This could have been on Dynamite or Collision. Yeah. I was informed by commentary that the reason why Mark Briscoe is so over it is he's from Delaware, which is close to Philadelphia. The only thing I know Delaware from is the film Wayne's World. So yeah, I mean, in all fairness, right? Like, I can sit here and I can mock this match, Collision match, diddly-dee, hell of a match. Like, because Kyle Fletcher's awesome and Mark Briscoe's awesome. So Hell of a match. This did not need to be on this pay-per-view.
No.
But a fun match it was.
But I feel like it's one of those things where it proved itself to be on the pay-per-view. It's kind of like, you've seen this match. You know it was. We saw this match on free TV before. They were given a little bit of time before. So it's like, oh, but the only thing I do want to mention is it's sad that we're in a universe where we'll never get Aussie Open versus the Briscoes.
Yeah.
Because that would have been great. Because I was watching, I was like, man, imagine if the tag team element of it would have been great. Because these two have good chemistry together. It was a good match, and there was a great heat behind it, and a much-needed victory for Kyle Fletcher to go to the next level. But Mark Briscoe, please, let's do something with this guy. Yeah, he's a former ROH champion, but there's a lot of people. Luke's a former ROH champion at this point.
Might as well be at this point. Speaking of, Kyle got the win with the brainbuster onto the turnbuckle. Speaking of the ROH championship, in what could have been a pre-show match, Chris Jericho took on Bandido. God bless the video package that played before this, because it made it feel like this was an epic match with an epic story going into it.
Give him a bonus.
Give those people a bonus. The highlight of this match was Bandido doing the stalling suplex for a full 60 seconds. And then, we'll get to the end here. Brian Keith ran down. Gravity took him out. And then Jericho grabbed the bat, cracked Bandido with it, and won.
No, the way he said it, if you don't watch wrestling, he said gravity took him out, as in, what, the Brian Keith slip? You said, and the way he nonchalantly said it, well, Brian Keith comes out and gravity takes him out. I know who he's talking about. It just
the concept of gravity was just like, nope, not you today, Brian.
And when you said it, you're like, and me, Brian Keith comes out, gravity takes him out, and the baseball bat. I was like, wait, what? Gravity took him?
Yeah, it was the wrestler Gravity, the one who forgot Pac. He took him out, and then Jericho won the match, and I was like, I'm genuinely surprised by that, because
how did you feel like before what we know?
Yeah, genuinely I was like, egg on my face, because I went into this being like, with all like the certainty that I had is that this was the most cut and dry match on the card, even more so than Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart. This is so cut and dry that Bandido is going to win the belt here, because his family will be at ringside and they can celebrate with the Ring of Honor title. So when Jericho won, I was like egg on my face.
Did you read the report earlier? Apparently they had difficulties in terms of coming up the finish or something like that.
Well, from what I'm only putting my conjecture onto this, because I didn't see it. It's when we and I were talking about this, we thought, it's on the Wikipedia page, it's announced. But then my editor couldn't find a match card for it. And I was like, well, the match got announced like weeks ago. So if we don't have a match card for it now, we won't find one. Yeah. And then like the day we were going to put the video out, a match card got released, and he was like, turns out they did release one. I was like, oh, well, what do you know? And apparently it's because this match may not have actually taken place on this show. My feeling on that, I'm only putting conjecture on this, it was because the finish required the mum and sister to be there. And if the mum and sister weren't going to be able to travel to the show, then you don't do this match here. That's like, because they just said like it was travel issues that were like derailing some of this.
That is crazy. But yeah, we're going to talk about forgetting wrestling history.
And I don't know that was done. That is just my read on what Tony Khan said in the post-show scrum. But so what? My note is, bloody hell. Because what happens is Bandido's mum, she saw a bully at school being mean to her son. So she called over the teacher and was like, that boy over there is being really mean. Why don't you do something about this? I pay a lot of money for my kid to come to this school. And the teacher was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Bandido. We'll look into this issue. We'll get the school advisory board to look at these things. And they chat amongst themselves. And they were like, yeah, I think Jericho was being alright. And like his mum literally goes like, look, here it is. This is what he did. This is how he cheated. And they're like, I guess that Chris did cheat there. This match will now be restarted. And then like the mum and sister get involved in the spots. The sister slaps Jericho across the face. 21 plex. Bandido wins. Absolute nonsense, but the live crowd had a fun time. I thought this was absolute cack.
Yeah, Luke, the referee, Bryce Remsburg, he you know what? It was a case of the fact that you had Aubrey Edwards, who had nothing to do with the match because Bryce was the referee. So Aubrey's outside for some reason. I don't know if they always have a second referee.
She loves mums.
Yeah. So you should look, she can understand what she's saying. She speaks the language. She understands Spanish. She's going to convey the message. She picks up the baseball bat. And I think the only thing that was annoying was the lack of replay. I know they don't do replays. It's just like Bryce just went off like, hey, Aubrey's picking up this baseball bat. She looks stern. The mom and sister are there. Apparently they don't like my count. I want my bonus. I'm going to reverse the match. So they could have lied, okay? Bandido's mom could be a liar, okay? That's what I didn't like. I think it's like, what? The guy's name's Bandido. Which one you learn he's stealing from? The mom! What are we doing here? Like, are you gonna believe the mom of a guy that wears a mask with the bandana over it?
And also, is this how he's winning the title? His mum won it for him because his mum complained to the referee. My son didn't win the belt. It's like it's reverse all decisions then every time that someone cheats. As long as you got your mum at ringside.
That's what it was.
I'm taking my mum to every one of my future matches, so that and my mum will complain to the referee if someone cheats.
Okay, part of me has this theory that Jericho has this one of his famous storylines where he was a conspiracy theory victim in WCW when he lost the Cruiserweight title to Dean Malenko. He went to the White House. That's infamous. Everybody knows that. So part of me is thinking.
Because you said Jericho and conspiracy theory, I was like, talk is Jericho, right?
That's like saying everything. So you have to cast your mind back to '98. My theory is he's gonna do the thing of like, the referee screwed me over, Aubrey screwed me over, the company screwed me over. I'm a victim of conspiracy, because it does give Jericho the next bit of storyline to do. Because I was thinking he needs a shtick, because Jericho's not a shticky wrestler nowadays. He needs something to hook his teeth on. The New York Minute ran past the sell-by date, and even they kept it for like another month. I feel like he's gonna be a conspiracy victim again.
That actually does add up. And, it's TV time, I guess.
You screwed me, Bryce Ramsberg. You didn't even look at a replay. You didn't,
It should build to Jericho versus Edwards.
Oh, yes. I approve of that. Yeah.
Jericho versus Aubrey Edwards.
Why not?
That's the match we'll build to.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
And if that is the end goal...
You screwed me, Luke. Bryce, you look the same with your bald head and facial hair.
Wonderful. And then... So, this is where we get to the victim of a long AEW pay-per-view card.
Another collision match.
This felt like another collision match, but also it felt like it was a pay-per-view match because it had a stipulation on it. It was a title match and stuff. So it feels like it should belong on the pay-per-view card. But it came after two matches that people weren't hugely interested in, being Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, and then Jericho and Bandido. So poor old Danny Garcia and Adam Cole here did absolutely everything right in this match and told a very, very good story. And this crowd were just ready to watch Kenny Omega do a wrestle. So they did not give this match the time of day, and which made Adam Cole's big title win fall a little bit flat.
He's right outside where he trained. I was like, I think he was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, if I'm wrong. If I could be wrong, but it is kind of like a home state kind of victory for Adam Cole, because, he cut his teeth here, CZW and ROH and so forth. So I guess I understand the reason why they went with him winning the title there. It's just a case of like, they've been feuding since January. They mentioned it, that there's been this, ongoing thing since January. They should have pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, to be honest, because by the time it happened, it was kind of like, he's won the TNT title, I guess, great, but it's a long show. My enthusiasm.
I did feel so. I'm up at 5 a.m. to watch this show, because I'm like, it's a long. I know it's going to be a long show because it's an AEW broadcast. I got up at 5 a.m. The show was still on. So like when I loaded up the fight feed, it was like, watch live, and I'm like, no, I need to watch this from the start, thanks. So and I was watching this, and it got to this point, and I'm like, I've had 2 cups of coffee, and I'm there, and I'm eating some Weetabix, and I'm just like, I am so ready for this show to be over, so I can write my review of this.
Right.
Like, I've got to read up so much about Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton from SmackDown. Like I need to crack on, guys. And this match started, and I was like, and I genuinely went to our predictions video to be like, how many more matches are there? Like, how many more? And there's like, I'm pretty sure there's only 2 matches left.
Unfortunately, I kept feeling that. There's another one. There's another one. There's another one. And I think that's the issue, because if they have A shows and have B shows. So I liken AEW pay-per-views to a director's cut. They're gonna put everything inside, right? They're gonna empty the clip of all the good quality content. Sometimes it's alright to have a B show where you have less matches and still hit. That's the thing. All the matches, sometimes most of the matches bang, but then when you have like other matches that are good, but it's just like people are tired. They don't want to see it. I didn't particularly want to see this match either. I'm sorry.
That's part of the problem. A, like, I don't think people are super into this story anyway, so that's not going to help things. But B, it's a story that people aren't super into, that comes at this point of the show when they are just ready for the main event and Kenny Omega to roll around. So it died a death. Had this match taken place on a card with 3 less matches on it,
Yeah.
this crowd would have been a lot more favorable to it because, well, they, case in point, Julia and Mercedes, like they got really into that match by the end.
Yeah.
They told a good enough story in this that I think the crowd could have gotten into this, like really got into this by the end. But they just kind of didn't. And then, Adam Cole dropped the boom and he won. Like, it was good. It's just the crowd just didn't care. It's not the crowd didn't care. The crowd were just tired.
They're tired. But my highlight of the match was the Daniel Garcia. Because, again, one of the issues is a babyface feud that's been going on for a while. They're both still babyfaces. One of them should have turned heel by now. Daniel Garcia was the more aggressive one in the match.
He was more heelish in this match.
That's his natural inclination. You know what? I'm tired of, scruff. Little brother Danny, that's so condescending because he calls him Daniel Garcia. I find it condescending when his wrestling name is Daniel Garcia and people goes, Danny.
I call him Danny. But that's because my cousin's called Danny.
Fair enough, but I blame Jericho because he started it, and then you got Adam. Come, Adam, what's his name? Is that people ads? Hey, ads. No, his name is Daniel Garcia. Call him by his government name. He's Daniel, for goodness sake. Because when they say Danny, I feel like he's like little broing him. Hey, Danny, you need to understand because this whole feud has been Adam being talking down to him.
You tell that to Danny, champion of the world.
Well, if you want to call yourself Danny, champion of the world, that's fine. But his name's Daniel Garcia, for goodness sake. But anyway, I hope he turns heel because at the end, there's like a begrudging, I've never seen this because usually when people do this, it's like, I mean this. You were the better man. I'm happy for you. But it's a case of like, fine, I'll shake your hands. Yeah. Look, this. Give me your hands. Look, he's the champion. I'm going to go now.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. Poor lads, though. And then our last match to talk about was for the International Championship as Kenny Omega took on Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey in a match that I described as Unbreakable 2005 if everyone was AJ Styles. I had a hell of a time with this match. This match was awesome.
Okay, it's unbreakable if you had a sense of humor. Because it was slapsticky and I love the heck out of it. When I say slap, it was slappy. It was a lot of people getting their knees taken out, a lot of people getting their head slapped.
Oh, poor Mike Bailey's knees.
Yes?
Someone who's got bad knees. Like I felt every single one of them. Pack it in, Mike.
Yeah, some of these knees, I get it, you in a shin pad and knee pads and so forth, but yeah, some of those knees were like crazy. But there was moments of levity that I enjoyed, even unintentional one, where you had Ricochet clip the referee's knee as well. And he's not the referee I like either. What's his name? Mike Knox. Don't like him. And so he got clipped. And that's like, yes, take him out of the match.
Wasn't he in WWECW?
Ooh, Mike Knox?
Yeah.
Maybe. I just know him as a PWG. Oh, hey, is his name not Mike?
No, Rick Knox. Mike Knox was the guy.
Kelly's boyfriend. Yeah.
Was the guy
Thank you for stopping me. You know what? Thank you for stopping me. Because I was like, yeah, that sounds right. His name is Mike and Knox, not Rick Knox.
It's the guy that Shawn Michaels super kicked.
Yeah, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Yeah.
Buried on his way back to ECW.
Listen, I liked Mike Knox. Even when he had that, was a mini run on Raw when he was bearded, looked like a mountain man. I was all in on that. And I like Knox in TNA with part of the menagerie.
Shout out to Nux as well.
And Nux of aces and eights. Yes. I love every version of Michael Hettinger. Government name. That's how much of a fan I am. You thought I was lying? He's the first one to do the Blade Runner before Bray Wyatt and Jay White.
Shout out to Colby Lopez.
Yes. And he's the
One of the
Lopez.
few wrestler names I know off by heart.
And Richard Blood, Ricky Steamboat.
Anywho,
good triple threat match.
This match was really, really fun. They did. Kenny and Mike were smacking the bald head of Ricochet, and as a bald man, I will not stand for this.
Did it?
And so then Ricochet dropped Mike with a Death Valley drive onto a prone Kenny Omega onto the barricade, and it's just like, do you remember that? It's one of my favorite Kenny Omega stories. Is when he was in DSW, I think, and Build 'em Up had a go at him, was really mad at him. Of course. Because he's a moron. Had a go at him, and he said, stop doing cool moves, work over a body part in the next match. So Kenny Omega and his opponent, Kenny targeted his ass. And he worked over the ass for the whole match, and then won with a atomic drop off the second rope. And then he walked backstage, and Bill asked him, so what body part did you work over? And Kenny replied, the ass, Bill. And I feel like any Kenny match I'm now like, what body part are you going to work over? The diverticulitis, Bill.
That's actually a good story. I never heard of that. That's actually quite smart. I love that. That's
the ass, Bill.
Yeah, great sense of humor.
And speaking of comedy, Ricochet joining commentary for this, and it was just perfectly like cutting this promo and stuff. This is why I'm so great. And out of nowhere, bang! Super kick by Speedball Mike Bailey. Mike was great in this match.
It's another coming out party as well because Kevin Knight is the recent new guy. It kind of makes so you got the old new guy who's been here for nearly a month. So do you still call him a new guy because he's the new guy? So it was his first pay-per-view. Both of them got their first pay-per-view, but it feels like that Bailey's been around for a bit. He's been establishing himself. There's people that didn't watch his TNA run, so they're getting used to who he is because you sometimes get this guy is good. Okay, everyone's telling me the guy's good, but are you good? Because people do this as well, innit? They do this, like, are you really good?
Are you really good?
His name's Speedball for a reason.
Just because Satini Yangi told me on a WrestleTalk podcast
that
he was good.
Yeah. He goes, I did really good. I was like, yeah, they're good.
Because when he does his little, like, he powers up and stuff, and he just twirls around and then boots them in the face, crikey, I'd take someone's head off.
Listen, I feel like he is the evolution of what 1-2-3 Kid and Rob Van Dam was doing. They are my holy trinity of, like, white people that do karate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because when he did the Karate Kid pose, and then Ricochet was like, what is this? Ran towards him and Bailey, bam, booed him right in the face.
I don't think he watched the film. Had he watched the film, he would have known sweep the leg. Because when he did it, everyone popped. Because you know it is. Because people was like, I think it's one of those things where like, do the crane kick.
Yeah.
Just do it. And he did it. I think people were like, oh, he did the thing. He did the thing. It's this so early as well.
Oh man, it was so awesome. Like I love the sequence where all of them were doing double pins on each other because this match was set up by a double pin. Really, really great. And then we got this gross the moonsault knees by Speedball Mike Bailey, but Ricochet moves. We landed hard on the apron. It was gross. Poison Rana by Bailey off the top rope. A series of Snapdragon suplexes by Kenny Omega into a double Snapdragon suplex by Kenny Omega. And then Bailey missed the knees. Omega gets an armbar. Ricochet, it's a springboard 450 for a near fall. Omega kicks out the shooting star press, and then Bailey gets his knees up on the shooting star press. And then Ricochet, as he's selling, is like, "No, me and you should work together to take him. Right? Leave me alone." And that is when, boom, he gets booted by the Karate Kid kick, and then Omega breaks that up. Omega broke up that pinfall with a V trigger, on point V trigger as well. I knew it. And then Ricochet set up for an avalanche vertigo, but Omega stopped him and hit a one-winged angel off the middle rope. And Bailey, who got caught into a tree of woe, was reaching to break this pin up. Fantastic match.
It's gonna be a 5-star match. It's gonna be 5 stars.
Absolutely. And if it's not, Dave Meltzer is high as a kite.
Yes, but I do want to do a bonus chat about a match that happened on the pre-show. Max Caster. Max, you're the best wrestler alive. Max, you're the best wrestler alive. So Max Caster did an open challenge. So you know who he faced, right?
Yes. Anthony Bowens made his return.
Bingo. So basically, the chant got over in Philadelphia, but Max Caster, being the great heel he is, he kept correcting them. He's like, no. Enunciate. You guys are a bit off. No. The rhythm's off. He was so great because it was getting over and he kept stopping them. And Taz kept laughing there because, like, I think Taz knows as like a wrestler, I know what you're doing. You don't want to become a babyface because what's happening next. Had he embraced it, it would have kind of, I don't know, it would have made more confliction. Totally. So he was the heel. Even like wore a jersey of a basketball player for his name, which got extra heat for what was happening next. And his opponent was the 5'2" player, the pride of wrestling, the return of Anthony Bowens. It comes out, new theme song, some sort of indie-rific music comes out. He got fireworks. He dressed like a superhero. He brought his dad with him, Billy Gunn, that kind of like killed the buzz a bit. You know, like,
why are you still here?
Why have you got your big jacked up dad with you?
Maple Leaf Pros, Billy Gunn.
Yes, and then the match was so quick. Barely, it was just them like posturing and then roaring elbow 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. Lovely stuff. And then after this match took place, the three-way, Kazuchika Okada came out. The coin dropped and he came out and they had a little pose, and then Kenny Omega walked away, setting up your title unification match for All In. Ooh. Thumbs up all round. And that was the show, because then we had the main events. I had a good time with it for the most part. I get the complete downer of an ending. I totally understand all the criticisms. I actually agree with a lot of the chats we've got in. I agree with a lot of the chats that have come here. I didn't dislike it personally, but I understand the frustrations around it 100%. But I had a fun time with the show. It's a thumbs up from me.
I am clamoring for all the good parts. That's what I'm doing. That's what you have to do, because if you it's kind of like in life. If you focus on the bad parts, you're just gonna be in a bad place. Focus on the good parts and be hopeful. Because that's what wrestling is. It's not going to be like that forever. Mox is not going to have a 5-year run. I hope I didn't jinx things. But yeah, we're going to get there, guys. We can all do this.
Let's get into your thoughts on this show. Ding, ding, ding. This is your final call for Ultra Chats. We're going to wrap things up. Imari gets back in touch and say, for what it's worth, I don't always agree with everything you guys say, but I don't think you're biased on one company or another. I just think that our taste different on some things, and that's all right. This ending wasn't for me, but I'm glad you had some positive hopes for it. That is a wonderful, level-headed chat. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Can we frame it? I want to frame this.
I'm going to put this on the
you
set.
should.
That
is the tone, the tonality of it.
That is what wrestling conversation should be. People have different tastes. This is what I was talking about with the flavors of ice cream.
Bingo.
Not everyone likes every flavor of ice cream.
And it's respectful as well. I appreciate
so
you.
respectful.
Appreciate you.
Beautiful. Bushin Ryu Cat said, can someone tell me why it took the Death Riders, the Young Bucks, Hulk Hogan, Zombie Randy Savage, Big Show, and Zeus to finally screw Swerve out of a championship match? I'm talking to TK later on. And Sat's still my favorite wrestling YouTuber.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Another nice chat.
Because you put YT, and that's like another, that's like an acronym for white people. People with white. Yeah, white. White. See? So I was like, favorite wrestling whiter? Thank you. I appreciate you.
Learn something new every day.
Nah, pushing right cut. Thank you, sir.
Every day's a school day. Cameron P1 said, I like this show a lot. Granted, I missed a good portion and had to do a rewatch, but the main event didn't annoy me as much as others, I guess. Mox retaining makes sense since he's going to lose to Ospreay at All In, so I'm not too bothered. Love you, lads. Cameron, hold on to this one, bud. Hold on to this chat here, dude. Just in case you do not get your wish at All In. Rafael Garcia said, in reference to the Death Riders or the FTR turn on Cope, I knew it was happening, I just didn't want it to happen. I had hope, but the minute the Cash said trios titles, the writing was on the wall. I'm starting to think the only way they'll listen is via the old ways. Who has the pitchforks? I'll bring the torches. On the subject of Chris Jericho, Real Double J here said, I agree from your predictions video that we'll see Jericho as Ring of Honor champion next year, but I disagree on the name. He won't be El Diaz. His name will be LD's Nuts. He'll hold up his hand for a high five, and if you listen closely, you'll hear Tempest cry.
Oh, no.
Man, if he can get D's Nuts over as a wrestling thing, I would absolutely adore it.
Please don't tell him. Please don't tell him, because that's something Jericho. Next thing you know is gonna be reporting Fightful that Jericho got these nuts trademarked.
Isn't I think didn't Eddie have that for a while? Kingston.
Yeah,
some D's Nut stuff.
There you go.
Miss Eddie Kingston.
I miss him as well.
Hannah Allen said, hello, lovelies. Apologies. I need to take a break since the last chatting in. A lot upset me, and I had my whinge, awkward face, lol, a little recalibration. Support from my community and just watching you lot rather than the show has me refreshing and good to go. Dynasty was so much fun. What a show. It was a long-ass show. I got through it, though. Forward resurgence to storytelling in matches that I really enjoy. Storm and Bayne and Omega Ricochet Speedball stole the show for me. The Kenny match was chef's kiss. Lovely to see you again, Hannah. I hope you're glad to see you're doing well. Kevin here said, I don't know what changed between late 2023 but Mox is not doing it for me. Maybe he needs a longer vacation. But as this was the opener for me, it made a good show overall. Ospreay and Knight had a great actual opener. Kyle and Mark killed it. Megan's build has been very good to culminate in a great first title match for her. Hopefully she'll keep building her momentum. And maybe if it was and even if it was maybe a bit long, the three-way was excellent, and the final face-off between Kenny and Okada was cherry on top. And oh yeah, I like FTR, but I freaking love complete a-holes FTR. The smooth Shadow Machine fake out, them acting out the stretcher. I'm excited for their heel run. Do need to check actually, because I think that triple threat match was long.
They said it was over, I remember they said it's over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I was like, I like a Kenny Omega match, but it felt like it was a New Japan triple threat match.
31 minutes. That main event was 31 minutes 35. That flew by.
Wow. So we had back-to-back 31-minute matches.
Over an hour's worth of wrestling at the end of the show there.
Not only was it a long card, they're like, let's give you long match run times as well.
I was going to say. We now have Mayor of Painesville Dan. Hey, bud. Said, hello, everyone. Hope you're well. This is the most negative response to a show since I can remember. The last time fans went this far was Backlash 2018. Hope AEW recovers, really do. The good times still seem to be shrinking. Backlash 2018. Is that Jinder? Jinder winning the belt?
No, that was long before that. By that point, Jinder.
2017.
Yes, I think it is. I think it's 2017 because the 2016 was a SmackDown period, was doing well, and I don't think people had fond memories of Jinder being champion.
Backlash 2018.
Yeah, we're gonna find out, guys. Who was?
Oh, there's a lot of people on the poster.
Yeah, but what was the? We're gonna find out what the main event was.
A lot of scrolling. Roman Reigns beat Samoa Joe via pinfall.
Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman defeats Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. AJ beating Nakamura. Is that in a draw?
Oh, not the Nuts storyline. Daniel Bryan beat Big Cass. Jeff Hardy defeats Randy Orton. Nia Jax defeats Alexa Bliss. Seth Rollins defeats The Miz. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan defeats Bayley.
Were people mad about this show? What happened on this show that people were so mad about?
Yeah, Dan.
And do you know what? I would have reviewed that show as well because Ollie and I were doing the podcast at that point. So I haven't a blues clue what we were all upset about. Other than it's just like, well, Roman won again, I guess.
I guess you blocked it out.
Why were we so mad? Because Roman wasn't champion at that point.
Yeah.
He lost to Brock at Mania.
Oh, yes.
Jared Hazelwood was at the show with a... Oh, is it because Roman and Joe was the main event? Is that why people were mad?
So why Joe being in the main event is not something we'd be mad at. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah.
We probably were in 2018. We were looking for things to be mad about in 2018. It probably wasn't very good.
That's a mystery.
Jared Hazelwood said, was at the show with a sign Ken the Box sign. Was disappointed with the ending, but that doesn't make the Owen a bit less... but that does make the Owen a little less predictable. Hangman could possibly lose to whoever the wild card is now. Okay. Will here said, hi guys, overall great show, but the main event didn't do it for me. Cool to see the Bucks back and Paige fight the D-Riders, but this House of Torture Bloodline Judgment Day thing Mox has ain't it. Also a bit fearful that TK is still waiting for Darby.
Man of his word.
BD Gillersby here said, Dynasty Revolution feels like the Mass Effect 3 of wrestling pay-per-views. They're mostly great, but because of how bad the endings are, people will perceive the whole show as bad. I really hope at least one of you have played Mass Effect because I cooked with that. I'm so sorry to say that I haven't.
I haven't, sir.
No, I'm sorry. You're the wrong audience for that one. Mulberry Eagle said, last night's pay-per-view was the first wrestling pay-per-view I ever bought. I'm not an avid AEW watcher, but I thought last night's pay-per-view was a good one. The opening was great, and I thought the main event was good as well. Would love to see Ospreay versus Strickland. An interesting take there for someone in their first AEW pay-per-view. Molten Deester here said, I wasn't able to watch this pay-per-view because of work, but I've heard from some that it was a bad show and from some others that it was a great show. I was wondering what you guys thought, Jam That Jam. Well, thankfully, we just talked about it for an hour and a half of what we thought of that show to get your thoughts on it. But overall, I would say it was a good show. I would definitely order the pay-per-view to watch that triple threat.
Watch it.
And the Megan Bayne
and Toni Storm
match. And everything else was good. And the main event, I think, is... It's mixed, but I think it's probably more negative.
It was an unofficial Bloodline Rules match.
And lastly here, She-Woman says, my issue is that Ospreay is not Hangman or Swerve, and it feels like their main event story has not ended and never should have stopped to begin with. Makes it hard to be excited for something I should be excited for.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Ospreay is not Hangman or Swerve.
Let's not start this, guys, okay? It's going to be you know what? Litmus test, right? If what they're saying about Mox is true, if he can't have a great match with Ospreay, we will revisit 2025 Moxley. We will.
I 100% think we will do. So thumbs up for the show, 49% in the middle, 29%. Thumbs down, 20%. Like that. Actually, it's to the point that someone made there. Like it sort of feels kind of mad to me that a show with like some really, really amazing wrestling on it has got such a negative reaction to it because of one match on the card, and in particular the finish to that one match. Like I don't think they can say like the whole show is bad because of that.
The Mox effect used to be like a positive thing to say, but now it's like the Mox effect.
That's it. It truly is the Mox effect. Like I've seen some people in the chat there being like, it's I'm so done with this title reign. I cannot get into AEW. Like it is because it is the main title of the promotion. It is killing people's interest in the entire product, and I think that is a very interesting thing to be living through.
I felt like how they did a storyline where one of the titles, like if Adam Cole goes, this TNT title is going to be the title that the other belt's not. I feel like that would have alleviated, because it's kind of like what Seth Rollins did with like, I'm going to make this United States Championship the most important title because I can't win the other belt. I don't know.
And here's my match with The Miz.
Yes. Or the Austin or the Theory and the Lashley.
There you go, everyone. That'll do it for this show. Thank you so much for joining us here. Please do press subscribe. Give us a little thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you're watching this on demand with your thoughts on the show. Or if you're watching this live, just end the stream and then you can go leave your comment on the video below. We will see you tomorrow here on WrestleTalk because Ollie and I will be reviewing Monday Night Raw, which will be our first Raw without John Cena. And I get the feeling what has been... There's El Grande Americano.
Yeah, it's quite decisive, right? The character.
Bailey, yeah, it's not Chad Gable. We've got Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. Seth Rollins returns to Raw, and Penta is having a match with Dominic Mysterio. Think it might be a lame duck show, everyone, but we'll make the best of it when we do the review tomorrow. Hopefully, it's a bit of a banger. We're on the road to WrestleMania. It's 2 weeks away. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I've been Liko and DAD. That has been Sat Iniangi. Jam that jam.